Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. US prosecutors have announced the arrest of 24 suspects in the US, Canada, and Europe for alleged links to three India based organized crime groups, including the Bishnoi gang. They have been charged with a series of crimes, including orchestrating the 2023 killing in Canada of Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar outside a British Columbia temple. Now, federal prosecutors in Los Angeles said that the arrests were the result of years long federal investigation into Indian crime syndicates that were engaged in targeted killings, extortion, and drug trafficking around the world. In total, 37 defendants have been there, and they are charged across three indictments, which were unsealed on Tuesday. Now, what the Assistant United States Attorney Bill Esili has said in a statement, I'm just quoting that, the transnational criminal gangs who spread fear, drugs, and violence will face the full force of justice and the weight of the federal government. There is no safe harbor for these thugs. That is what United States attorney has said. Now, Nijjar, as you all know, was shot dead 3 years ago in his vehicle by two masked gunmen in the busy car park of the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurudwara in Shore, a city about 30 kilometers east of Vancouver. He was a prominent Sikh separatist leader and publicly campaigned for Khalistan, the creation of an independent Sikh homeland in the Punjab. What does this incident show? The way these 24 arrests have been made, what does it go to show? Does it impact India-US relationship? That's also there. What kind of questions does it raise about the gangster networks which are running? And this very FBI statement, if you look at the notice from close quarters, it says that these gangsters were supported by some officials. Now, who are those officials? We don't know, but it does raise serious questions. Now, look at this notice I was talking about. International crackdown on India-based organized crime gangs results in 24 arrests in US, Canada, and Europe. Now, this is the notice from the United States Attorney's Office, that is the Central District of California. So it does raise serious questions about the way the gangster networks are thriving. They are being supported by the officials. Now, who are those officials? Will those officials be taken to task? How will FBI take them to task? And how are these things going to play out between US and India? That's a very important question, because so far we always felt that, Adani was being used as some sort of a pawn between India and US. Now, does this gangster network now become the same thing? Can Trump use this to arm twist India in some way or the other? These are larger questions which we'll try and discuss. Joining me this evening is Professor Aftab Kamal Pasha, International Affairs expert and diplomat. So thank you so much for joining. Sanjay Kapoor, International Affairs expert, author, and veteran journalist. Thank you so much for joining, Sanjay. Pushpraj Deshpande, author and policy expert who works closely with the Foreign Affairs Department of the Congress. Thank you so much, Pushpraj, for joining. And let me begin with Professor Pasha. Professor Pasha, to make the story quite understandable for the common man, how does one understand these arrests which have been made? And it seems to be like a big action from the FBI. What is the biggest takeaway, according to you, from this story? Because it's not a small development.
Yes, thank you for having me in this program. This, I think, is quite an explosive issue, and the intelligence agencies, multiple US intelligence agencies, along with the FBI and others, including from Mexico, Canada, Spain. I mean, it looks like a global operation from Australia to Europe to North America. These gangs, three gangs which you referred to, have been operating not only to import and export drugs into America, Canada, from Mexico and elsewhere, but they were also involved in human trafficking and weapons transfer, extortion, a whole variety of crimes they seem to enjoy not only official patronage, but also, the kind of money which is involved in this kind of operation, multinational global operation. It speaks about many more things which appears to be from this attorney's report only tip of the iceberg. And many more names will come out from this investigation, which spans across continents. There are three things. One is the money involved in this is of such staggering amount that it is not a small operation. It has, I think, involved millions, if not more, with money involved in drugs and human trafficking, and people from Punjab have been going to these countries in large numbers, and how they managed to take people, and how they try to hoodwink and mislead people, government officials there, here and there. This will all come out. The other thing is this Lawrence Bishnoi seemed to be a super kind of a criminal which enjoys political patronage from Ahmedabad jail, and who is wanted in many cases in other states, but not been taken from this high security prison where he apparently has satellite phones, and he has the support, alleged support from officials. Now, who are these officials? Their names also will roll out, and who is patronizing them at the highest level? Because as we know, when the Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing came out in the open, Home Minister's name was there in Washington Post and many other US newspapers. And it led to strain in Indo-Canadian relations. Diplomatic staff was cut down and trade impacted. And Justin Trudeau openly accused Indian agencies of being behind these killings. And it also shows the nexus between these criminals, these gangs, and politicians. Maybe we'll get to know more about it. Which party, which politician is involved, who's giving patronage to them, and who's benefiting out of it, and for what purpose. Is it to track the so-called people who are used for killing of political opponents, or against Khalistan, or what are the objectives? Is it only Khalistan or any opponent of the ruling party in any of these countries where there are a large number of people who...
No, but Professor Pasha, do you feel that no, but do you feel that Modi government, and in fact Home Minister along with the National Security Advisor, they will have to do some serious answering on this? Or do you think that, somehow they can brazen this out?
No, when they say corrupt officials, whether it is in jail or elsewhere, these will be known sooner than later. And it will also reveal who are the people in the government who are supporting him, supporting them for so long, and in such a large syndicated crime. This looks like a mafia which is being used for selective purposes from India to achieve certain foreign
I'm just
policy
interrupting you
goals.
for 2 minutes, sir. Yeah, Pasha, sir, I'm just interrupting you for 2 minutes here because we've got a tweet from FBI Los Angeles, which says that as part of Operation Hardball, this entire operation, the years-longest investigation which FBI spoke about is known as Operation Hardball. The FBI and our law enforcement partners throughout California, other US cities, and in Canada, India, and Europe collaborated to execute dozens of search and arrest warrants targeting 37 members of violent transnational organizations who are charged with engaging in racketeering, targeted killings, shootings, extortion, the trafficking of bulk quantities of narcotics across international borders, and other crimes around the world. Bharani, if you're there backstage, can you just play those visuals of the narcotics which have been confiscated. And it's just not narcotics. Let's play out those visuals. Barani, if you're there backstage, because what FBI has confiscated is a long list. It's about 1,000 kilograms of cocaine, then 1 kilogram of heroin, then 12 weapons also have been seized, and some $40,000 of cash. Yes, Professor Pasha, what would you say to this?
Yeah, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. And this intelligence agencies from across the countries will go deeper and find out who are the people who are victims of this extortion,
Right.
of this killings, and so many other crimes which they are alleged to have committed,
Right.
not in one country but number of countries. So,
Right.
which organizations are behind this, and what is the extent of their reach to political life? Is there any embassy support which has gone there, protecting them, shielding them, using them, or for what purposes, so on and so forth? So, it is a very dark chapter, and I think many heads will roll if the FBI comes out with much detailed
Right.
report dossier on this. It has political implications, it has diplomatic implications, and also it has larger implications for our national security also, because it involves many countries and many groups and so many organizations which are involved, and the list of crimes they have committed. I mean, it is shocking that
Right.
Indian government has not responded, and the way protection is being said to have been given to them. It speaks about involvement of the
Right.
highest level.
Right. I'll come to Sanjay. Can we assume that this protection to the gangsters was given by the Indian government? Because if you look at the FBI statement very closely, and of course the tweet which they have put out, they say that it was a joint investigation which also includes people from India. Now, this was the countries which they have named. Of course, India is also there. Now, do we go to assume that perhaps the Indian government has also helped in this investigation, or would you see it as this development as something which puts Indian government on the mat? Yes, Sanjay, unmute yourself.
Let's face it,
Yes,
Neetu.
sir.
The Indian government, without the Indian government support, the FBI and the other agency would not have moved at all, because everything is centered around India. Number one, it is all mostly pertaining to Punjab and people who are part of that group. They are involved. Thirdly, you have a gentleman called Lawrence Bishnoi who's holed up in Sabarmati jail in Ahmedabad, and he's using satellite phone and mobile phone and every kind of phone to reach out to his network of people all over the world. So there are a number of things, and mind you, this is an investigation. This is not intelligence we are talking about. Investigation means that they have been able to garner a lot of evidence against the people who are involved, and it's not just tip-offs like that were happening a couple of years ago when they named, the Home Ministry officials, some people there who were linked up with the assassination of Niger, all that. This is real evidence. I mean, this is something that cannot be dismissed by the court. They have put in about a year or so or more, and they have been able to get hold of these people. So this is far more serious in a certain way, and let's look at it how it will play out, because primarily government of India has been in a bit of a turmoil for the last few weeks. That is what I know, and they've been trying to work very hard in trying to show that they are serious about putting a cap on the entire drug trade, because India all this while has been surrounded by drug cartels which run the golden triangle and golden crescent, and we have not been the source of drugs till now. But this is a revelation in a sort, because the people who are involved are mostly from Punjab, and they have been accused of running an international gang. It's like the Colombian mafia. This is what worries India quite a bit. That our reputation has gone through this real mud. Primarily, the last 12 years, you've got the prime minister who's running this country. and he's not been able to control all these people who have been there. Worse, the names of people are coming out. Pasha Saab, there are some people whose names have come out from Punjab police, and they are SHOs and they are DSPs and people
Yes.
of that level. Nobody higher up than that has come out. But I'm sure with putting them through a ringer would make people confess about who's giving them orders, and who's telling them to do whatever they're doing. So it is a far serious crime than we can really make out to be. It is
Oh,
not
so
just the
are you
government that's
saying,
involved.
Sanjay, are you saying that some more skeletons could come out of the cupboard, maybe as the investigation progresses?
Sorry, come again.
No, I'm saying that. Are you saying that some more skeletons might tumble out of the cupboard as the investigation progresses further?
Surely, surely. I mean, I'm sure what they've got are the people who are involved, not the people whose faces and hands will never be seen or shown. The big bosses, the big boys are always behind the so-called foot soldiers that you have caught at the moment. So the FBI is saying that they have about 1,000 people who are involved. They've got hold of about 37 or 38. Largely about 100 odd are under their arc of inquiry. But the truth is that this is far more serious because, as I said, India's reputation had gone to a kind of state that, only Colombia or one of those broken countries were involved. So, where the drugs plays a very great role. So, can we assume in some ways that here too the drug mafia is controlling India's politics? And why don't we hear much about it? Because the truth is that sometime back, in 2 3 years ago, there was a cache of about 3,000 tons of heroin which was caught, and nothing came out of it. It's again the politics that drove a lot of that drove many things out of it. But suddenly it's all quiet. But this is going to be very serious. It is not something that India can cover it up and cannot really keep it hidden for long, because this involves drugs. It involves running of influence. It's also the Indian government that is involved in doing many things. So let's see whether the Indian government's hand is visible or not, or is it some kind of bargain that they have struck that we'll let you catch a boys and you keep us out of it.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. You're saying that there also is a possibility that they could have struck a bargain. Pushpraj, I'll come to you now. How do you see this development? It's a big story. I don't know how many mainstream media channels have actually discussed this story. I don't know. I'm not sure of that. But how big is this development? Does it really put Modi government under a huge scrutiny? Yes, Pushpraj, are you able to hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. A very good afternoon to you, our panelists, and our viewers. Firstly, this is an international indictment of our justice system. A multi-nation investigation is publicly asserting that India's justice system is so rotten that incarcerated criminals and crime syndicates are spearheading assassinations, extortions, kidnappings, human trafficking, and drug trafficking with impunity. I mean,
Your voice is breaking, Pushpraj. Can you just check your internet connection? Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'll come to Professor Pasha again. So Professor Pasha, what I think Pushpraj is trying to join back. Yes, Pushpraj, go ahead, please. Yeah.
am I audible now?
Yeah, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying that they have satellite phones, access phones, money, and networks that ordinary people don't enjoy. It's almost as if the government has converted jails paid for with our taxpayer money and converted them into safe houses for criminals like Lawrence Bishnoi. Now, obviously, this could not have happened without the complicity of the jail authorities as well as the Home Department. Now, given that Lawrence Bishnoi is in jail at the Sabarmati jail in Ahmedabad, the Home Department of Gujarat is directly responsible. So firstly, Gujarat's Home Minister, Harsh Sanghavi, who is also the Deputy Chief Minister, needs to be held accountable for this massive lapse, which has tarnished India's image internationally. Secondly, because it's Gujarat, we both know that both Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah closely micromanage every aspect of their home state, Gujarat. So the responsibility for this lies with them as well as the Deputy Chief Minister of Gujarat. Now, this is not idle speculation or political point scoring, Niluji. In a deposition to a Canadian Parliamentary Committee, Deputy Foreign Minister David Morrison asserted that Home Minister Amit Shah was directly involved in both intelligence gathering and assassinations of Sikhs inside Canada. Now, thirdly, and I'm saying this with great care, I am not endorsing in any sense any separatist movement, including the Khalistani movement. Punjab was and will remain an integral part of India. But if India's Home Minister, Union Home Minister, starts greenlighting Rambo-style assassination hits on foreign nationals, not only is he breaching his ministerial remit, but he is also damaging our bilateral relationships with Canada, the United States of America, and European nations. Instead of principled internationalism and adherence to a rules-based order, which is what we have been known for since 1947, our intelligence and diplomatic establishments are being misused to conduct international murders. Even if the BJP, and you know and I know this, that the BJP has been selling this domestically as hawkish statecraft and proof that India has arrived as some kind of muscular nation. The bitter truth is that this has severely tarnished our image as the moral leader of the global south. Furthermore, it has led to tangible diplomatic reprisals. Our RNAW officials were expelled from Canada and the US and Germany. The first such instance since RAW was first set up in 1968. Fourthly, as Sanjay ji rightly said, it is not beyond the realm of impossibility that this could indicate a government-to-government deal, that we will throw the Lawrence Bishnoi gang under the bus, but you let our officials in the security and intelligence of apparatus off the hook. But apart from the untenability of this hawkish statecraft, it raises serious questions about the accountability of both our diplomatic and security establishments in the US, UK, Germany, Canada, Australia. All these establishments are accountable to Parliament. Okay, to ensure secrecy on national security matter, these are done in-house and in camera. But in India, are any of these, the security or diplomatic establishments, accountable to a joint parliamentary committee? I think this is something that we need to really think about, especially because a government like the Modi government, which is unhinged from constitutional and institutional values, can and will misuse our security apparatus in the pursuit of an ideological and aggressive hawkish internationalism. This has long-term reputational and diplomatic consequences. Therefore, it is in our national interest to have a robust oversight and regulatory mechanism over them. And finally, one last point, Niluji. I want to flag the drug issue that Sanjay ji vaguely alluded to. This has severe geopolitical implications. Anyone in the know about India's Northeast knows that India is now part of the Golden Quadrilateral. There are multiple intelligence agencies from across the world who are operating on our northeast borders. Plus, tons of drugs have been seen from Mundra port in Gujarat, and many cities across India are flooded with drugs which are destroying innocent families and lives. Now, the Lawrence Bishnoi gang and other criminal syndicates which have been charge-sheeted in the US have been charge-sheeted for drug trafficking, that is transporting drugs, but not for manufacturing or processing drugs. What I'm trying to suggest is that there are serious structural problems related to the drug trade ravaging India. We are fast spiraling into some kind of narco-state. But instead of focusing on redressing these serious problems, Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah are more focused on removing opposition voters from the voter list and vilifying them as Bangladeshis. Now, see, we really need to think about where we are going as a nation. And this government is seriously tarnishing our image as well as destroying our geopolitical and international image.
Right. Sanjay, coming to you, if you could unmute yourself, all these points which were highlighted by Pushpraj, how do you think that the government is really going to answer all this? And what Pushpraj was saying about the Home Minister, or say, for example, about the National Security Advisor, can they really answer? Are there evidences for that? Because the moment you take their names, then the people will come back at you saying that, oh, where is the evidence, except, of course, that one or two articles which have appeared in Washington Post in the past.
Let's face it, whatever is happening is about Indian nationals, whether he's in jail or outside or wherever he is. And
yes,
that matter will come up in the parliament. And if the matter doesn't come in the parliament, shame for the parliament, It should be discussed there. It should be something that brings, when it comes to this, when it comes to the respect for the country, respect for the rule of law, all go down the tube, when India is concerned. All that should be taken up, discussed forcefully by the opposition in a manner that people comprehend that they are serious about it. Because what is really happening is India is visibly looking like, as Pushparaj said, like a narco state. And I talked about Colombia earlier, primarily because there everything is controlled by the drug mafia, and becomes very difficult for ordinary politicians or even ordinary citizens to do anything beyond that, because they all come under the sway of or the influence of the drug mafia. You see how Mexican president is fighting hard against it. Need to have support from the U.S. presidency to somehow control it. So what happens now here in India? I mean, will the U.S. say that we will give you support to control it? It'll be a shame if they do, because India is supposed to be a country that will fight on its own, control the drug trafficking on its own, and would not allow anything to happen. I've been following this drug business for long, but it's never so big as it is now, and it's very serious in a way that I had never imagined it would be. So I think it is something that should be taken up in the parliament by the opposition party. They should jettison everything and take this up, because it involves everything.
All right, so I'll come for the concluding comments now to Professor Pasha and then to Pushpraj. Professor Pasha, what would you say? Do you think that if the issue is taken up and the monsoon session is around the corner, if this issue is taken up by the opposition, will government be really able to answer on this, or we expect some wishy-washy kind of an answer from them?
No, given this government's disdain for parliament and parliamentary committees, I don't expect this issue to rattle the government. They have virtually silenced the opposition and prevented through a number of ways how to circumvent and how to dominate the parliament, the political system. Any minor criticism of Adani by the leader of the opposition enrages them. They do everything possible. So I don't expect much, as Sanjay Kapoor hopes Parliament would debate, discuss, opposition would take up. I don't foresee that kind of a
I
situation.
have another question, Professor Pasha. Let's see what the Parliament does. But if you look at the FBI statement, they say that these gangsters were attacking the Punjabi community, which was staying abroad, and they were extorting money from them through social media encrypted apps like WhatsApp. Now, that is a big allegation. And do you think that Punjab elections is scheduled next year? Does it impact Punjab elections as well? Professor Pasha? I'll ask this to
Yes,
Pushpraj.
they would use all this to the hilt, and even in fact try to dislodge that Punjab government is incapable of tackling this, and they will show the evidence that so many people are involved in all of these things. So that is there. But the real issue is there is a nexus between this government and this Lawrence Bishnoi and other gangs, because I think their motive was to wipe out the Khalistani movement or those key people involved using these extrajudicial methods. Because this government has become emboldened by using this kind of method inside India. And all the challenges they have neutralized. And, their supporters openly, boldly and defiantly challenge the rule of law, the police, the courts, and so on and so forth. So they thought that they will replicate this kind of situation with the government support, embassies, and all these gangs outside. And since these operations are very expensive abroad, so drug money is the easiest because it will fetch them millions, just as the CIA used its presence in Afghanistan to take plane loads of heroin out of Afghanistan for operations which were not approved by the president or Congress. So all this illicit trade in heroin was done by the CIA itself, and others like Mossad and others also do. So the best way to carry out operations without accountability is drug money. And these three gangs have been named by the FBI because you have to pay in millions abroad to carry out shootings, murders, all of these wrongdoings which have come out in the open. This goes to show the extent to which this government has got entangled and give away to the foreign governments, especially the United States and Israel, the kind of clout and influence India has because of its achievements, because of its economic performance and the hard work millions of Indians do to make it self-reliant and achieve what it has done so far. So this government is bartering away for petty ideological gains, huge things to foreign governments who are manipulating and using it against us and caving in. This government is caving in and giving more concessions after concession. And they are tight-lipped. They cannot open their mouth. They cannot challenge them. And, the kind of meek appearance the Prime Minister made at the G7, referring to Donald Trump as Excellency every minute or every word or sentence. It shows how weak-kneed the leadership has become and how fearful they are of the so-called strategic friend, and how emboldened Trump has become to support our enemy called Pakistan. And year after year, we will witness until Trump is there or even after the damage done by this kind of spineless policy and the kind of wrongdoings they have done. This will go on tarnishing India's image and hurt its national interest to the core.
All right. So Pushparaj, we hope that the opposition is going to raise this issue during the monsoon session. But what is the biggest takeaway from this episode, for the Indian government?
Neeluji, firstly, I want to congratulate both you and the federal for actually hosting this. You're one of the few programs that is actually doing this. None of the mainstream media is actually picking this major issue. And I would urge the federal team to amplify this, because some of the things that Professor Pasha and Sanjay sir have said are things that should be kickstarting a national dialogue, because these are things that no one actually knows about and have serious structural issues with related to India. That's one overall comment I want to make. See, I've already talked about the geopolitical institutional implications for India, so I'm not going to belabor those. I just want to pick up this one last thing that both Sanjay ji and Professor Pasha alluded to, which is the drug issue. You might think that this is an issue that is only related to national security, geopolitics. It's not. This drug problem is ravaging every city. There has been no proper reporting on this, but you see every city. This is our job. We've been tracking this. Every city is rife with rising drug abuse, as well as deaths related to drug abuse. This is a direct consequence of what Professor Pasha is saying. The government of India is silently endorsing or allowing the drug trade, possibly because they have decided that we want to do this Rambo style of internationalism, this muscular hawkish statecraft. And so for this, we need a black ops budget. Now, this black ops budget possibly could be coming from the drug trade. The Northeast, Manipur is partly getting is being burned because it has become part of that golden quadrilateral. That drug issue is creating havoc in the Northeast. Plus, there are drugs in the tons being seized in Mundra and many other ports. Now, the problem which I'm trying to get at is that it is seriously affecting ordinary Indians. This is an issue that affects your and my families and our people. We, the people of India, it affects us in a very tangible sense. Not just that, we need to ask ourselves as a nation, is this the kind of government, is this the kind of nation that we aspire to be? Yes, we want a seat at the high table, at the global high table. Yes, we want to be in the UN Security Council. Yes, we want to be perhaps the number one, number two nation in the world. All of these are legitimate and operational. We can actualize these aspirations. I don't deny that. However, do you want to do that as a nation through drug money, by conducting assassinations, by indulging in drug trafficking, not just drug trafficking, human trafficking? Is this the kind of image that India, a responsible, mature, sovereign nation like India, should be resorting to? Is this the path to our greatness? I mean, here you have Prime Minister Nehru and Dr. Manmohan Singh, who led us. I mean, President Obama was completely right in saying when Dr. Manmohan Singh speaks, the world listens. This was a nation which has been led by intellectual and political giants who were statesmen of the highest order in the world. They showed the world a better middle path, away from violence, away from this kind of hawkish statecraft. What are we reducing ourselves to? Are we going to be compared to a failing and failed state like Pakistan because we are conducting ourselves no better than that? Is this what the BJP's idea of nationalism is, of national pride is? These are serious questions that we should be asking ourselves. And I hope, as both Sanjay ji and Professor Pasha have said, I hope the India parties raise these issues and ask the Prime Minister, ask the Home Minister to answer this on the floor of the House, because this concerns every single Indian.
Absolutely. So, well, monsoon session is around the corner. Let's see whether this issue is brought up by the opposition and whether at all the government chooses to answer on this. But yes, some serious takeaways coming out from this development, because ultimately India is left embarrassed with a development like this. Thank you so much, Professor Pasha, Sanjay Kapoor, Pushpraj. Thank you very much for joining.